Hi, I'm Terry Sullivan and welcome to the Sticks Radio Show here on Secno Sounds, bringing you interviews and news from the world of entertainment around hearts, beds and bucks. The Sticks magazine is the most talked about what's on and lifestyle guide covering hearts, beds and bucks. You can read it or subscribe for free by going to www.the-sticks.co.uk.
Write it all out like a bird in the sky was. Write it all out like you were a bird. Fly it all out like an eagle in a sunbeam. Write it all out like you were a bird. Wear a tall hat like a druid in the old days. Wear a tall hat and a tattooed gown. Ride a white swan like the people of a Belgium. Wear your hair long, babe, you can't go wrong. Catch a bright star and a place it on your forehead. Say a few spells and baby, there you go. Take a black cat and sit it on your shoulder, and in the morning you'll know all you know. Druid in the old days. Wear a tall hat and a tattooed gown. Ride a white swan like the people of a Belgium. Wear your hair long, babe, you can't go wrong.
That was Mark Boland and T-Rex, and the song that started it all off was Ride a White Swan. In a few minutes we'll be talking to Danielz of T-Rextasy, but first let's listen to him playing the classic 1971 number one. This is Hot Love.
Well, she's no woman of gold and she's not very old, no. Well, she's no woman of gold and she's not very old, no. I don't mean to be bold, but to me I'll hold your hand. Well, she ain't no witch, but I love the ways to twitch, Well, she ain't no witch, but I love the ways to twitch, I'm the labor of love in my Persian gloves, Well, she's faster than most and she lives on the coast, Well, she's faster than most and she lives on the coast, I'm a two-penny prince, I'll give her hot love, take it out on me. But I love the ways to twitch, I'm a two-penny prince, I'll give her hot love, La 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 la. Touch
My guest today is Danielz. He performs as T-Rextasy. They're called the world's best T-Rex tribute band. He's going to talk about his life as a Mark Bolan fan and performer. So, Danielz, whereabouts were you born and brought up?
Oh my God! Well, I've lived around the world really. My dad was in the forces, so I've kind of like lived my life a bit of a nomad really. I've lived in the Far East, Germany, Cyprus, all over the place really. But obviously, you know, when my parents left the army, I settled back in the UK, and this was about must have been mid-70s when we settled back down. And the first time I actually heard Mark Bolan's voice was actually when I was living in Germany, and that was the time where, you know, he kind of, you know, took me by surprise. I'd never heard anybody like him before. I was like a lot of kids, really, at that sort of young age, 13, 14, whatever it was, you know, playing football. I heard this guy on the radio. It was a song called Jeepster, actually, that really sort of got me hooked. And I've been hooked ever since 1971, 72, really. Yeah,
it's a long while ago. I was looking them up the other day, and I mean, it's I think they started off in 1967, Bolan, with Tony Visconti.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the nice thing about this is that a lot of those people are now my good friends. I mean, Tony Visconti has been on stage with us all 4 or 5 times now, and he's become a good friend of mine. And it's lovely the fact that he's still kind of producing people like David Bowie, and at the same time he's a friend of mine. It's quite ironic, really, because when you think about Mark Bolan, I still think of Mark Bolan as this kind of superstar, and then you've got Tony Visconti, who was with Mark actually at his peak, who now performs sometimes when he's over in this country. He comes on stage with us, which is strange.
Yeah, because sort of Mark Bolan was a bit of a sort of enigma, wasn't he? He was a one of a kind, wasn't he?
Oh,
really
yeah,
was.
Yes. I mean, irreplaceable. There are certain people I think that are irreplaceable. I mean, I mentioned David Bowie. David Bowie's obviously someone else that's irreplaceable. But Mark, to me, stood head and shoulders really above anybody, because I think he kind of had it all. Mark was a real rock and roller, and I got into T-Rex for various reasons, really. When I heard Jeepster, it got me hooked. But when I saw Mark performing on TV, a lot of people at the time, it's so androgynous, really. You know, is it a man, is it a woman? Because at that time, of course, nobody dressed like Mark Bolan. No. These days, of course, it's become second nature. You put on YouTube or whatever, there's thousands of clips by lots of different glam bands. But at that time, Mark was the first. He was the innovator of that 70s glam period, really.
Yeah, and his show was sort of revolutionary because it was on at tea time. It was on about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's moving along quite a few years.
I that was
after Mark's peak, really. It was kind of like 1977 when he was kind of doing what he wanted to do. He'd been the superstar. He'd travelled around the world. He was offered his own TV show by Muriel Young, who did really children's shows, and to all intents and purposes, that Mark TV show was a children's show, which was kind of a little bit strange because by that time, a lot of Mark Bolan fans had grown up. They weren't children anymore.
No, I must have been about...
a strange thing, really.
Yeah, because I must have been about... Hang on, I would have been about 15 then. 14 or 15, and I was watching it. I was loving it, and it was sort of there was only Top of the Pops and that, and there was nothing else. And he had, I seem to remember he had David Bowie on with him a few times, which was.
David went on once with him.
Was it once?
That was the very last show, and they had a song planned, but I don't know if you remember it, but lots of things happened at that one show. But the last clip is of Mark falling off the stage. Which was quite, it was funny at the time, but you kind of thought, well, I wonder what that song would have sounded like if it had been finished. It was a song called Standing Next to You. It was a song that they'd written together. They hadn't written much together, but there was a song called Madman, and there was a song called Standing Next to You. That was the song they chose to perform on the Mark show, but they only played about a minute of it or so before Mark fell off the stage.
Have you ever played that song live yourself on
No,
stage?
no, we haven't. It's one of those things where, because David Bowie takes most of or half of the vocal, it's a bit of a strange concept, really, because if I did it with a David Bowie guy, then it would work.
It would be fun, wouldn't it? It'd be unusual.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, it's. I mean, I've met David. I met him this was our second tour of Japan in about 1996, and it was a strange story because David was travelling to Russia from Japan, and we were going from, I think, a place called Fukuoka back to Tokyo, and his flight was cancelled because there was a fire at the airport. So he ended up catching the same bullet train as us. So we had a couple of photos taken together, and we had a little chat, and it was nice. And the nicest thing, what I asked him, do you miss Mark? Because they were very good friends. And without just a split second, he just said to me, every day. And I thought that was a really nice thing for him to say.
In the sort of show business world, that is so nice, isn't it? You know, that they almost, you could, at the time, you can almost see like being rivals. They sort of had the same sort of, sort of dressing up as with makeup and everything else. They'd almost been like rivals as such.
Yeah, well,
so nice, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they were rivals, really. I mean, I think it'd be naive for me to say they weren't rivals. They were just the best of friends, and of course, it doesn't work like that, really. They were rivals, but they were also good friends, because at that period of time, there was no one really like sort of T-Rex or David Bowie, and people forget that David Bowie used to support Tyrannosaurus Rex in the early days.
That's right.
So Mark really helped pave the way for David in as much as getting him involved in kind of like, the dressing up, if you like. Because I think that Mark really, when you look at David Bowie's very early albums and songs, some of those, reminded me of a guy called Anthony Newley.
Yeah, I remember Anthony as well.
Yeah, and of course, it was only after that he kind of grew into this, Ziggy Monster and Aladdin Sane. But no, I've always got a soft spot for David Bowie, and when I met him, all I can say is that he was really nice to me and really friendly, and I got the impression that he still held a spiritual love for Mark, which was nice.
Well, there's quite a few people who did it.
Bringing people and communities together on seclosounds.org.